It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project, or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed, and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality. I'll give another example. The District Road Improvement Project, which is DRIP. We did the investigation. The preliminary report was returned to my office. I studied it. I gave directions as to what to do. And the investigators have gone back to do went back to do their work. And they came back with a report that I can tell you has, pinpointed certain acts of malfeasance that we are working on. Now to the rumble in the jungle. The buffer stock investigation, which are nicknamed the rumble in the jungle, as at March 2020, when we announced the arrest and detention of suspects Kobna Idubohi and his wife Angela Ejie Boateng, the Economic and Organized Crime Office had gathered credible intelligence regarding a criminal enterprise that had been operated by the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited, Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab. Initial estimates put the amount of money pilfered by Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at the time at around 58 million Ghana cedis, far in excess of the 49 million suspected to have been stolen by Mr. Idubohi and his co-accused persons. I called the criminal enterprise operated by Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at Buffer Stock the rumble in the jungle, not only because of the huge amount of money at stake, but because of the fact that while food suppliers were wailing and gnashing their teeth due to failure to pay them for supplies to the Buffer Stock, and while our school kids were being denied nutrition under the school feeding program for lack of funds, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators were busy lawlessly looting funds meant for the program. That is jungle behavior. The informal meaning of the word rumble is to discover illicit activity or the perpetrator of the illicit activity. Through painstaking investigations, the EOCO discovered this illicit criminal enterprise run by a gang of corrupt, lawless officials at the Buffer Stock Company. On June 25, 2025, the EOCO conducted a coordinated operation based upon their initial investigations, which resulted in the arrest of Mr. Abdul Wahab, former chief executive of Buffer Stock, his wife Faiza Seydou Wuni, and then James Atieku, the Buffer Stock manager for the northern sector, who was based in Tamale. The operation also led to the arrest of Emmanuel Atta, head of corporate affairs of NAFCO. The arrest followed initial intelligence and assessment by EOCO, who suggested that while serving as CEO of Bufferstock between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab colluded with his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, Richard Sam, head of finance, Bismarck Ousu Boache, finance department, and Emmanuel Atta, corporate affairs manager, and others to create an elaborate criminal enterprise that was used to steal and launder public funds from the Bufferstock Company. Within the period between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab, in concert with Richard Sam Asante and Bismarck Ousu Boache, orchestrated a transfer of 78,269,084 Ghana cedis and 4 pesos from the bank accounts of Bufferstock Company to a private company linked to Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, and staff of Bufferstock at Republic Bank and EcoBank. Evidence shows that the funds were instantly retransferred to companies owned by Abdul Wahab himself, and companies and entities owned and associated with him and his wife. The prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals. In the case of the latter, we have filed charges against the former Chief Executive, Executive Director, Osea Sibe Ntwi, and his deputy, Gifty Owari. Charges are being prepared against the rest of the public officers and the so-called marketplace vendors. In all, we intend to file about 10 cases in the NSA scandal and will use some of the public officers and vendors as prosecution witnesses. Now, this is a strategy that is working very well for us, and we intend to continue to use that strategy. In a situation where there is a small criminal among big criminals, and the small criminal knows a lot, it is better as a matter of prosecutorial strategy to use a small criminal to get the information in order to be able to succeed, and that is what I'm doing. Also, I wish to announce that the Auditor General has conducted a forensic audit into the NSA, the National Service scandal, and the total amount of money stolen or illegally spent now stands at 2.2 billion, and not the 548 million that was uncovered by my investigators as at June 2025. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have here a copy of the Auditor General's report. Again, painstaking investigation is very important in criminal matters. And so, based upon what the Auditor General has done, and this is a forensic audit, okay? Forensic audit means that they've gone beyond what ordinary, auditing would have done. And so, we are going to, based upon this, in some cases, change the charge, amend our charge sheets in order to bring fresh charges. Investigations are still ongoing in respect of the following matters: All African Games, mathematical sets, Bank of Ghana new building, stadia renovation, and National Cathedral. In the case of the National Cathedral, we have actually requested that the Auditor General should conduct another forensic audit, and he's being held by one of the big 4 accounting companies to be able to do this. That occurred last week with respect to the Nole Prosokoi filed in the Dufour case, in the Republic versus Governor Dufour and 7 others. And then also to update you on the ongoing investigations and prosecutions that I have initiated. But before I go into the details, I would want to, first of all, apologize for the fact that we had advertised that I was going to update you on a major investigation that has taken place that adopted the rumble in the jungle. You will recall that when I announced the investigation of the Kobina Iduboahe case, I ended up by saying that if you thought that that case was a thriller in Manila, then wait for the rumble in the jungle. And so the rumble in the jungle was supposed to be today, but unfortunately, after the press release from my office in the Dufour case, significant public commentary, some of it adverse, others very positive, came into play. And I decided that it is, as part of the accountability and transparency series, it is important for me to provide details, because certain misimpressions were created which are not accurate when it comes to the decision that I have taken. So I want to provide details on that. And then I'll update you on what we are doing, myself, my deputy, and the team at the AG's department with respect to the prosecutions. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, I am here this morning to account to the sovereign people of Ghana, as has been my practice since assuming office as Attorney General. Today, I will do two things. Firstly, I will provide further details on my decision to enter a nolle prosequi in the case of the Republic versus Kobina Duffuor and 7 others. And secondly, give an update on the ongoing investigations and prosecutions that I have initiated upon assuming office as Attorney General. On Tuesday, 22nd July 2025, I took the decision to enter a nolle prosequi in the case of the Republic versus Kobina Duffuor and 7 others. This decision effectively brought to an end the criminal trial of Dr. Kobina Duffuor, a former governor of the Bank of Ghana and former Minister for Finance. I took that decision after a prolonged period of negotiations with my team of state attorneys, including the Director of Public Prosecutions and the receiver of Unibank on the one side. The team on the other side was made up of Dr. Duffuor, the shareholders, directors and managers of Unibank, and the receiver. As part of my constitutional duty to account to you, my fellow countrymen, I wish to provide further details on my decision for two reasons. First, I have always maintained that as your Attorney General, I owe you a duty to act transparently. Second, I think it is important to dispel certain misimpressions that arose as a result of the rather terse press release that I issued following the filing of the nolle prosequi. My fellow countrymen and women, in March this year, the lawyers for the Unibank directors and shareholders approached me with a proposal of their clients' intention to settle their indebtedness to Unibank. In response, I convened a meeting on the 25th of March with them, representatives, and the receiver of Unibank, Mr. Ni Amano Dodu. At the meeting, it became obvious to both parties that a reconciliation of Unibank's account with the Bank of Ghana should be conducted. Therefore, I authorized the receiver to engage in the reconciliation exercise with them to determine the full scope of Unibank's exposure. I directed that the parties adopt a holistic approach that combined liabilities under both the criminal proceedings and the ongoing civil proceedings, because they were obviously interrelated, in order to reach a unified resolution that will bring closure to all related matters. The objective was to assess the feasibility of a comprehensive settlement. The charges in the criminal case against the accused persons involved a total amount, and this is very important, a total amount of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, not 5.7, as is being bandied about from certain quarters whose names I would not want to mention. Whilst the civil case involved a total exposure of 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the media, if you conduct your research in the High Court, you realize that the receiver subsequently amended the writ of summons and the statement of claim and revised the civil liability down to 2.8 billion Ghana cedis. Okay? So that is on record. That's a public record, and whoever wants to contest this is at liberty to go to the High Court and then, do so. It is important to state for the avoidance of doubt that the total exposure in the criminal case is part of the total civil case exposure. In other words, the 1.2 billion is not in addition to or on top of the 5.7 billion, which was revised down to 2.8 billion. The charges in the criminal case against the accused persons involve a total liability. No, sorry, I think I'm repeating myself. Now, The 5.7 billion was made up of the following. That is from the initial stage of the case. 2 billion being loans and advances which Union Bank made to related and connected parties. 3.7 billion being payments made on behalf of or on the instructions of the accused persons. Included in A and B above, however, was an amount of 2.1 billion which was alleged to be fictitious loans, to have comprised fictitious loans and fictitious transactions booked by Unibank prior to replacement in official administration. During the reconciliation exercise, the accused persons objected to the inclusion of the 2.1 billion on the grounds that the amount did not involve any direct cash outflows which could be recovered. The accused persons also objected to the inclusion of placements of 0.3 billion, that is 300 million, made to Unisecurities. Now, Unisecurities is a SEC, that is a Securities and Exchange Commission regulated, not a Bank of Ghana regulated, related company that had been placed in liquidation and for which a claim had been filed with the official liquidator. In other words, the money was to be recovered. The recovery of this amount is being pursued independently through insolvency proceedings with the official liquidator of that entity. In summary, the above matters led to the revision of the previously reported exposure of 5.7 billion down to 3.3 billion, which comprise the following. The exclusion of 2.1 billion in the alleged fictitious amounts booked to the account of the shareholder which did not involve.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Howard Moore. It's always a pleasure to come your way. It's a fantastic and it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Never mind the fact that we're mourning the passing away or the death or the demise of Ghana's First Lady, Nana Konadu Rawlings. She passed on Thursday after a short illness, and there's been a 3-day state of mourning which has been declared, and she's been receiving lots and lots of visitors. No one else she has in the family has been receiving lots and lots of visitors at their residence, and so we're still mourning our former First Lady. She is the former First Lady post-1992 when Ghana ushered in its constitutional rule. And so that's a very, very important and a very auspicious occasion that we are observing or we are commemorating. And so that's, but it's also not part of our conversation today. Today, we have a very, very, two very, very important conversations to have as well. One has to do with what appears to be some kind of a bad blood or some kind of a rift between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and that of the Attorney General. It's simple. A former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, under the erstwhile Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo administration, has been found to have been engaged allegedly in some acts of wrongdoing. We're trying to get the former Finance Minister here to answer some questions or to face justice. But the Finance Minister is out of Ghana. He's in America. He's undergone surgery and he's recuperating. Now, the OSP says he's been waiting for too long. The Finance Minister is not coming. And so what he ought to do is that he ought to extradite the former Finance Minister to Ghana. But to be able to do that, it is only the Office of the Attorney General which has been centrally designated to do so. But the Office of the Special Prosecutor ought to give the Attorney General what it expects, what it says is a full docket of the Ken Ofori-Atta case to enable them to proceed with the extradition processes. The Office of the Special Prosecutor says, no, you don't need a docket. You just need some useful key information. With that, you should be able to help us bring Ken Ofori-Atta down. So there's been a back and forth, and it's creating a certain impression that perhaps the Office of the Special Prosecutor and that of the Attorney General don't sit eye to eye. They're not collaborating, they're not cooperating, and they're not working in unison to achieve one objective. The objective is to bring the former Finance Minister to book. We'll find out whether indeed that is the case or it's just a perception. Of course, we've heard the Office of the Special Prosecutor responding and reacting to these allegations or these reports, and they're saying it's not true. They are collaborating with the Office of the they are collaborating with the Aegis Department, but it doesn't seem to be that way. So that's just one of the issues that we intend to look at. Now, the second issue that we intend to look at is that on Tuesday, I think it must have been on Wednesday also, yes, the Attorney General held a news conference and was briefing Ghanaians and giving updates on the oral project, Operation Recover or Loot. That's what oral stands for. And there's been a case about the buffer stock, the former chief executive officer, and what he has done during his stewardship as the chief executive officer. A lot of allegations were made by the Attorney General about what he has done, which in some cases allegedly borders on corruption, and in some cases borders on stealing, in some cases borders on misapplication of funds and so on. Of course, we've heard the former chief executive officer of the buffer stock company who's come out to say all the allegations that have been leveled against him are untrue. Okay, so we'll get to the bottom of all of that on the show today. Please stay with us. This is Inside Pages.
This is Bishop Ene Takiaboy inviting all Victory Bible Church members and friends and family. I want you to understand that God has been so good to us for 40 years. 40 years of Jesus is our victory. So don't forget that we are all expected. We are all required. We must all gather from 27th and then 28th, 29th, 30th. But don't forget that 31st, which is Friday in the evening, we are all marching to Independence Square. Then on the 2nd, we are having our grand finale celebration of our 40th anniversary at Independence Square, right from the morning. Don't forget, right from the morning, this God who is faithful, this God who brought his son Jesus to die for us, this God has been so great. God bless you. I will expect you, and I know you will be there. God richly bless you.
Chia woni nara me din e de baby da pa me dia de sonko kra na ebremo nya odi to aduane mu ama waduane e de pa na me de bremo eno any some spices de e mu wa wo bebre o various flavors ubenya eya akoko ubenya nantwie ye de ku jollof mu ma emu ye de ubenya ye de ku nkwan ye de ku froye mu ho na kope bito na ema waduane enye de unyimi nia ye nkon ye konko tie nya nkofo eka.
Autant de communication, we all enjoy Uduba, that Samu spices.
One in the essence, no time. I'm thinking that Yaga. Samu spices in a Sabi, Daddy so say. Samu spices, Moon Samu.
Samu spices, Yama chicken.
Samu spices.
Nsaka in Kitwa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, can jollof, and the flavors of Bebre.
Samu spices, yes, Saka.
FDRJ Jadien Kratoyatum.
Wabedum, Tamaso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwema Besisia. Abozig. I can say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey, but I tell me. Oh, sorry. She knew her. Oh, dish. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Sorry, well, uncle, where would I die? Why your funeral? At to phone for Arrowfield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share Nanda Daya was mosquito call is to do a munumu. Na say spray with them, sir. Chaisima a dronum and sana co dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA Ajatum.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Obey him later.
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from to jet be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you put it toy, so would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey!
Is that his car?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
I just want to hear. Welcome to season 2 of Play by Ear. Make some noise. This is the only show. All you need is your ear to win some cash. When I say play by ear, what you say?
All right, you're still watching Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. My guests are seated. Indeed, one of them is seated here. We have a very, very important, a very crucial conversation to have this morning. It has to do with accountability, it has to do with anti-corruption, it's about governance, good governance, and it has to do with the building Ghana and making it what it ought to be. So the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice, Dominic Ayeni, has announced that a former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, Abdul Wahab Hanan, has acquired several high-value property with proceeds from alleged financial crimes. Now, the revelations were made during a briefing on the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, and according to Dr. Ayeni, investigations show that the former chief executive officer used illicit funds to purchase luxury property in Accra and Tamale worth several millions of dollars and Ghana cedis. And I don't know that my production has that. We have a list of all the properties that was acquired or have been acquired or has been acquired by the former Buffer Stock Company allegedly. And it's a tall list of items here, which has to do with, which includes a 3-bedroom house at Cantonment worth $600,000. There's also a plot, yes, a plot of land at Airport Development estimated at $750,000. There's also a 17-bedroom boutique hotel at Gumani in Tamale, valued at $250,000. There's also a 4-bedroom bungalow at Jowulu, Accra, costing $4,142,451. There's also a 0.32-acre government land which was purchased at 307,200 cedis. Now, there's also additionally bank documents obtained by IOCO has actually revealed that within the period that the suspect operated this criminal enterprise, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his wife and their entities became the largest depositors at Republic Bank, and the branch was in Laboni. Again, lastly, we also have the Attorney General tells us that they have frozen all the assets of Hanan that have been listed, including a 10 million cedis fixed deposit account at Republic Bank, Laboni branch. That is the liquid assets. Now, they also have a lot of bags, we're told, and he says he doesn't want to list them. The wife has over 61 luxury bags. And Hanan himself, has been buying watches, some costing as much as 1.5 million cedis, and so on and so forth. So I'm talking about a 5-bedroom house at Chain Homes, which cost 1.625 million cedis. Now, we're told that these findings are part of a broader probe into some 40.5 million cedis money laundering scheme involving Sautina Enterprise, a company linked to Mr. Hanan. So this is where we are, and it's got Ghanaians talking, and Ghanaians asking if indeed this is true. Why are we doing this to our own country? Why are we, pillaging and pilfering and dipping our hands into the coffers of this country the way in which we do? Why are we treating the taxes of the ordinary Ghanaian or the poor man the way we're doing? So that's one of the first issues. And now, of course, we look at the AG and the Office of the Special Prosecutor in terms of what appears to be a rift between the two, organizations. Now, also joining us this morning to look at these vexed issues is Mr. Ishaq Ibrahim, who is a private legal practitioner, also a law lecturer, and also a member of the MPP's Legal Directorate. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
You, and then good morning to my good friend here. Good morning to...
Right. Thank you very much, and I hope that you're doing very well.
Yeah, thank you.
Emmanuel Wilson is the chief crusader. He's an anti-corruption crusader, let me just simply put it that way. And he has joined us. He hasn't been here in a long time. He's been doing a lot of work and making sure that regardless of which regime is in power or which party is in power, the right things are done, which is to make sure that we reduce corruption to its barest minimum. I'm not too sure that, I'm not optimistic that we can totally eradicate corruption, but what I'm very optimistic about, we can reduce it to its barest minimum. And I hope that the likes of Emmanuel Wilson Jr. can prove me wrong and say that we can have an anti or a corruption-free country, because our very culture, I believe, makes it very difficult to totally eradicate corruption. But then again, it depends on what you define as corruption. And it looks like Ghanaians, different segments of Ghanaian society have a different definition about corruption. That in itself makes it work, the fight against corruption, very difficult. But anyway, it is what it is. But anyway, Emmanuel Wilson Jr. is here with us. Emmanuel, it's good to see you. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to see you. Good morning. I am always delighted.
Oh, sorry, your microphone is actually off. If you can put it on. Yes, great.
Good. So I'm delighted to be here, and it's always a privilege to be on your platform. Right. I hope all is well.
Everything is well, and as Muslims we say, Alhamdulillah.
We thank God.
Absolutely.
Coming here this morning also reminded me of our own brother, Mutala.
Yeah.
Because after the incident, I haven't had opportunity of being on this platform.
Right.
And every Saturday, most of the times when I'm in town, I'll watch your show because of your engagement with Murtala. So I'll still want to use this platform to wish the family my deepest of condolence.
You know, the thing about Murtala is that he was a stickler for doing the right things.
That's right.
You know, and
That's right.
I don't think that anybody can challenge his incorruptibility.
Very true.
Of course, he will be an angel, but by and large, he was kosher.
I agree.
You
Perfectly.
know, so
I agree.
But anyway, Mano, good to see you.
Good to see
let
you.
me get your title again correct. He's a chief crusader for the Pressure Group Crusaders Against Corruption.
It's a civil society organization.
Civil society, yes. How's your organization doing? I mean, you've been in the quiet for the last the last 2 years or so. You've been talking here from time to time, but I don't know whether you have shifted in terms of approach to dealing with this canker. What have you been up to?
Well, so it has been our position that when a new government comes into office, we give the government some space to settle. We give the government an average of 6 months or so to settle, and that has been our culture. And so right after the general election 2024, following our convention, we decided to just allow the government to settle. And clearly moving into about 10 months into office now, we believe the government has settled enough. And so we've been working over the past 2-3 months. We've been doing what we know how to do best. Talking about whether or not we have shifted or changed the approach. Yes, we have. And the approach, you know, when you're fighting corruption, there are two approaches. The first one is to be a reactive person, or the reactionist approach, where you wait for things to happen before you come up, and then either you're advocating, you are exposing, or you are fighting or dealing with it. The second approach is what we call the proactive approach, where you put in the necessary measures to ensure that corruption does not even occur. A typical example is when we have, over the past years, Auditor General's reports coming up every year, and we have irregularities and abnormalities in it. Over the years, it has been a norm. And so the question has been, why don't we put in the right structures to ensure that the things that keeps occurring will not reoccur? And that is the proactive approach we are talking about here. Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana has decided that instead of just limiting our fight against corruption using the reactive approach, we want to use the proactive approach, because that is what we've actually been advocating for. It is unfortunate that the past governments did not collaborate with us to ensure that we put in the right structures to have, you know, the fight against corruption being a proactive one and not a reactive one. This government, to some extent, has decided to, you know, adopt the proactive approach with us. And so we are putting in measures, particularly in the various institutions, to ensure that the leakages and all the things that leads to corruption are sealed. Rightly so, you indicated, there's no way we can have 100% corruption-free society or government. That can never happen. But the truth of the matter is that you can minimize it. You go to other countries like Switzerland and co. They have given us, you know, blueprints. They have given us examples where they have reduced corruption to its barest minimum. And that is one of the things that we believe should be done. And so our approach as a civil society organization has moved from being the reactionist type to being the proactive type. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I ask whether you get frustrated, you get tired, because you keep fighting a canker, you're fighting it, you're fighting, and then every day you get up to some act of malfeasance or corruption or anything of a sort, something of a sort. And, you know, when you hear these things, I mean, for instance, when you hear the Attorney General say all the things he said about the buffer stock, former Chief Executive Officer, I mean, what's going through your mind?
Well, honestly speaking, there are so many countless occasions where I have felt so frustrated when it comes to the fight against corruption, because I feel like it's listening to what so many people have told me before, and even now they keep telling me, this is a cause that will yield nothing. You don't have to waste your time doing what you are doing because it will yield nothing. So when you hear what happened, for instance, with the buffer stock and other things that we always sleep and wake up to, it is more or less, entrenching what you are being told, that this will go nowhere. But the truth of the matter is that if you don't do it, the fact that it will go nowhere doesn't mean you shouldn't even talk about it. Moro, you agree with me that some years back, the issue of corruption wasn't so topical. So the fact that we have consistently been talking about it and now it has become so topical, a lot of individuals are so interested in it. People are, really interested when it comes to matters of corruption. That alone suggests that we are heading towards somewhere. We may not see the absolute fruition of it, probably within our time. But I believe that we are laying a foundation for the next generation to come and continue on it. Now, talking of this issue of the buffer stock, in fact, when I heard it, I was honestly taken aback. I was taken aback because I know that there's corruption in the system. And I know that our institutions are so polarized. No two ways about that. Look, we live in a country where institutions are intentionally allowed to be broken so that people can take advantage of it. And so where you have structures that needs to work, you have heads and leaders, intentionally frustrating the system and the structure so that it will create a loophole for them to loot. And so we knew that these things exist. But I wasn't expecting this level. Look at the figures and the things that you mentioned. And the first question that came into my mind was that, yes, indeed, we are talking about the CEO, the former CEO of Buffer Stock. But the other questions that we should be looking at is that if you go into the structure of Buffer Stock, no matter how polarized it is, it still has some, average structure. We have the finance manager, we have the administrator, we have the accountant, we have periodic auditing and all that. It will not just take one person to say that I'm transferring money from A bank to B bank and will not pass through the structures that we have, irrespective of how poor or weak those structures are. And so if you have, and this did not happen just overnight, neither did it happen within a day or two. If you have this happening consistently, the question that comes into our mind is that where was the other structures in the system? Because the reason why we build structures is to have check and balances. Does it also mean that when the Auditor General decided to audit Buffer Stock 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, they did not identify these abnormalities? Are you getting it? So it raises so many questions. But then again, it brings me to the question that I keep asking. When you are fighting corruption, the fact that you do audit doesn't necessarily mean that you are able to identify corrupt practices in the audit. Audit generally means that you are making sure that there's balance of your spreadsheet. It doesn't necessarily mean that it identifies individual components that suggest corruption and corruption practices. So for instance, if we had had something like a department under the Auditor General, and its duty is to identify the corrupt practices or components in every audit that it does, it would have been able to identify that, look, there was a conflict of interest in this transaction. There was this transaction that shouldn't have gone to this place. There was this that should have done this and it shouldn't have done that. Unfortunately, that is something that we lack in this country. And that is why I keep saying that it is time for us to have a proactive approach. And the proactive approach simply means building the necessary structures that will prevent corruption from occurring. Look, I always give an example. I had the opportunity of going to Rwanda some time back. And then on the street, we always say that Kigali is one of the cleanest cities in Africa. On the street, it was really clean. The person I was with, I asked the person, do you have any laws that says that if you litter, you'll be arrested? The person said, not necessarily, but we've just been oriented right from childhood. But there's another thing, aside the orientation. What I realized was that almost averagely, every corner you turn on the street, there's a dustbin. And so the system has been put in place in such a way that it even encourages you or discourages you. You will have no reason to litter around. You understand the point? So that is exactly what we need to do. Unfortunately, over the past years, it looks like we are not doing that. Over the past years, all we do is that we sit down and allow the things to happen. We talk about it, we advocate, we expose it, and then we go to sleep. The next moment, it will reoccur. The other thing that came into my mind was that, look, if for nothing at all, it is good for our governance to always have periodic change in government. So in government, when change in government or change of government happens, it gives us the opportunity to also see this rot happening. But isn't it worrying that we only have to wait for a change of government for us to see the rot that is happening?
Right.
I believe strongly that what we are seeing today with buffer stock and other things that will be coming up, which I believe will be coming up, the point is that when there's a change of government today, the current administration will surely have some abnormalities happening. But why can't we put in the structures in such a way that you don't need a change in government or change of government before we are able to see how people are misapplying the taxpayers' money?
But you know all of this, Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, we're doing this for Ghanaians, aren't we?
Right.
We believe Ghanaians hate corruption. We believe Ghanaians would vote any government out that it perceives to be corrupt. But I've always asked this question, and perhaps let me ask you to pause a bit so I can come to
that is fine.
My very good brother Ishak. Ishak, I keep asking myself this question: have we really found out, in empirical terms, how many Ghanaians actually hate corruption and whether they actually understand what is corruption? And the background to this question is that he talks about Hanan and the fact that we wouldn't have discovered all of these but for a change of government. But isn't it also a fact that the beneficiaries of corruption, beyond the person who is involved in the corruption, are also the people around him, right? Who are beneficiaries of it. So Hanan is Muslim. He probably has been to Mecca. He probably has sponsored some people to Mecca. He probably has built a mosque. Okay? You haven't been able to build a mosque. And so there are some people, if Hanan was your brother, they may have seen you as a failure.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Very true.
They are happy to worship the people who dole out and splash these monies as against those who cannot. Even in terms of how we're regarded in our society, money plays a key role.
Even in our churches.
Even in our churches. It's everywhere.
Yes.
So I'm saying that, who are these Ghanaians who are saying that they hate corruption? Where are they?
Where are they? That's right.
You know, and can they be very true and honest about themselves, whether they have never benefited one form or the other, whether directly or indirectly, from process of corruption? You know, I don't know, Ishak. You know, so this whole thing about corruption, don't you think we must look beyond somebody has done ABCD and ask why are they doing it? And why aren't Ghanaians angry enough, and whether we even have the moral right to be angry?
Yeah.
You know, so let me round that by, I mean, of course, when you're done with that, I'm sure you would look generally about what you heard and what you make of what.
Okay.
In fact, it will depend on your style of submitting on this matter, whether you want to start from your take on what you've heard, and then maybe respond to the question asked about who are these Ghanaians who say they hate corruption, and that we're really honest about it.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think since the death of Nana Konaji Ajimarolis, I've not had the opportunity to be on air.
Right.
So I first of all just want to say condolences to the family. She has left a huge legacy. I got to know her around the 1980s, 1990s, through the 31st December Women's Movement. Even though Accra was the capital, her impact was felt so much in the north as well, because she was everywhere across the country. I also want to use the opportunity to say condolences to my very good two friends in Salaga who have also lost their father. Alhaji Bello, his actual name is Zakaria Al-Hassan, popularly known as Alhaji Bello, and Mohib Al-Hassan. Even though the father is not prominent nationally, but in the Salga area, it is a big name. I want to say my condolences to them. Yes, I'm happy we are starting this point because I think it's a very important topic. But before I just say something, I want to slightly disagree with my friend that the previous government had not taken proactive measures. I don't agree with that. In fact, the establishment of the special prosecutor was a very proactive measure. They say that, did we actually utilize the office properly? Or did he actually utilize the power that was given to him? That is something for us to debate. But it was a very proactive measure. The attempt that we made to reduce contact with government, such as the introduction of the national ID card and the system that we wanted to build so that there will be less contact with government officials, was also another attempt to reduce corruption. But I also agree that even in the most advanced countries, they have not been able to eradicate corruption. Corruption is very difficult to eradicate. But what it should be measured is, what measures have you put in place to actually reduce it? We can never, no society have ever been able to conquer corruption. Our corruption might be in a different way if you look at their corruption. Invading other countries in order to gain access to their resources, such as oil and other things, is a form of corruption. What is happening in Gaza, for example, real estate billionaires and other people try to invade other people's country, killing up to 60,000 people in order to get access to both waterfront properties. Is a form of corruption. But that is not to say that because it is happening somewhere, we should be comfortable with it. No. For us, it's actually almost, how best can I put it? Our level of corruption, if you see the reports that have been given about Hanan, it's like just dipping your hands directly to the cash. Also in advanced countries, usually they don't do that.
So maybe you want to say our type of corruption is too brazen.
Yes, I mean, brazen. So glad. You see that? So, and it is often misunderstood. Let me make something very clear. Sometimes when a member of the MPP who had the opportunity to serve is caught or is being investigated, it is often misunderstood that those of us who come to TV station are here to defend them. No, I am not here to defend anybody. The MPP have not sent me here to defend Hanan or any member of the MPP who has been alleged.
But you are a lawyer, and you know that for now,
yes,
everything that has been said about Hanan,
yes,
is an allegation.
No, so that's why give me opportunity to make the point very clearly. Yes.
Okay.
So
there's nothing wrong with defending him if you believe he's innocent until the court finds him guilty.
So no, but when we often talk, maybe the way we communicate, people misunderstood it to be a kind of defense. No. For me, if you are serving in a department or government institution, it's an opportunity to offer public service. And the nature of public service is such a way that you must sacrifice. It's a sacrificial opportunity you get. And you can see President Akufo-Addo made a comment that, look, if you want to serve in my government and your objective is to make money, this is the wrong place for you. Go and serve in the private sector. He made it very clear. And likewise, if you serve and you happen to be accused of having corruption, it is not our job to defend such a person. All that we say is that everybody, even in court, that doesn't listen to both sides, is equally guilty. So while we have heard the Attorney General catalog serious malfeasance, I mean, this is so serious to sadden any individual who thinks we should deploy Mother Ghana resources in a proper way.
But Hanan says he's done nothing wrong.
So that is why I said
he says he's very innocent.
So what we are advocating here is we have heard from one side. The other side should be given the opportunity to be heard.
He's told you already.
Yes.
He said he's innocent. Haven't you seen his statement?
And that is why I'm saying that the process, you see, the role of the Attorney General is not only to convict the guilty, but to run your case in such a way that the innocent will be exonerated, even if they have a poor defense lawyer.
Yeah, but that's why there's also a Minister of Justice attached to his portfolio.
Okay.
Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
I think we are almost the same page.
All right.
But it's just that maybe we are talking past each other. But we are almost the same page. So the same page is that we've heard the Attorney General. These are serious crimes. But we want him to be afforded the opportunity, just like any other Ghanaian, regardless of your crime, to be able to defend yourself. This is why some people say that the details that he has given is probably too much, because the person will be convicted in the court of public opinion. And he doesn't have the same machinery and resources to be able to put up his case in the public. This is why it's usually more ideal if after conviction, my details is given. It's far better in a system whereby they have a jury system to try things of this nature. You would have already polluted the minds of the jury before they actually cease. So when we talk like this, it looks as if people have come to defend people who have looted resources from the state. No. But it just says that if you purport to practice democracy, equality of arms is very, very important. This is why we think that giving so many details at this stage might not be good. Actually, you can give a skeletal information, then go to court and secure a conviction, then give the public details. That way is better. That's the better way to do this. Having said that, you asked a question whether Ghanaians often say they hate corruption. But when you look around, it doesn't look like it. The reality seems to show differently. Look, I agree with you. The culture itself, I think it was Kofi Wayo who said the Ghanaian culture itself is very corrupt.
Right.
And good example is some of our proverbs. In the Ghanaian Mamprele, we have a proverb that you do not go to the chief palace in empty hands. But the trouble is that the chief has more than me. Why do I have to go to the chief palace with something? But it is in our proverb. And that even if you report a case to the chief palace, you have to give a token before your case is even heard. So all these things point to a problem. And I've had the opportunity of running for a parliamentary seat in the Walawale constituency. I mean, if you run, you see, I came from Britain to run for a parliamentary seat. I had a culture shock because I was talking about policy. I was talking about the educational infrastructure in our place. And I was even having a mini NGO I used to run. I had an NGO and I had a grant. And I was doing quiz and other things for primary people. In fact, delegates was pointing out to me that if you are running your campaign this way, you are not going to win because give us the money to spend. Give us the money. We are those going to vote, not those children. So if you run this way and you see the way the system itself is built, you wouldn't say that Ghanaians even Ghanaians frown upon corruption. And many of the things delegate would tell you to take your money. If it was in business, that would have been amount to fraud. But because in politics, the assumption is that you're a politician, you have stolen money from that system. And if they take money from you, they are actually reducing your sins. Because the money is gained from the system. And almost every politician would tell you the story. And there's so many of our MPs, they are having high blood pressure because of pressure from constituencies.
True.
So I believe, yes, the average Ghanaian have not helped either. And as you said, we celebrate ill-gotten wealth. What happened to other areas? Like Martin Luther King said, you could, if you are going to be a sweeper, make sure you are the best sweeper. If you're a chef, you are the best chef. If you go elsewhere in the world, they celebrate all these kind of people. But in our society, they seem to celebrate only the rich and nothing else. And no question is asked as to how you got your money. What matters is that you have gotten money. And that is a problem for us.
And they will shower accolades and praises and compliments on you. In fact, even when you've never been to Hajj, they say Alaji.
Alaji.
You know,
and those people are giving Francis.
Yes.
And the rest of us, you have to go to the back.
And it's part of the reasons why he wants to change. You know, he drives a Cadillac. He wants to change it. He wants to change it.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That's an interesting one.
He's pushing a devil advocate.
He has a brand new Cadillac.
That's nice to know.
It's too expensive for
this road, for the road.
Yes, I've been trying to help him sell the car.
The road of Ghana.
You know, he's looking for $150,000. I mean, how many people can afford that?
Imagine that.
So we've actually parked it somewhere around us behind Fiesta Royale.
Oh,
yes. We're looking for $150,000.
But Moro, let me just add one.
I mean, do you agree with, like, as you said, that it appears that we're enablers of corruption?
You see,
the people you're fighting for. Are they happy with what you're doing?
Let me just be quick and say that when we talk of the proactive, before I come to that, when we talk of proactiveness, I didn't want to dwell so much on it because, as I indicated, I mean, what I want is for us to move ahead.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that I don't think the past governments really appreciated what it takes to fight corruption in a proactive manner.
Okay.
The establishment of OSP, not just the OSP, but putting in structures without allowing the structures to work doesn't amount to you being committed to that. For instance, if you set up an OSP office and you decide not to give the OSP's office what the office needs to operate, you have actually wasted the taxpayers' money, you've wasted our time, and that's exactly what happened. If, for instance, you decide that you are going to ensure that we have national identification card, and then ab initio, right from start, even the procurement process is done in a way that suggests that there's corruption. You have not done anything. That is not what we mean by proactiveness. So if my brother is referring to those ones and says that, that is really not it. The other thing which I've always said is that, you see, when you are fighting corruption, it comes with not just the structures, but it also comes with the commitment of the leaders, the people who are in charge of the structures. One reason why I said probably into the second year of the past administration that we would not be able to fight corruption under the past administration was that the president, the then president, the leader himself, suggested to us in his own action that he wasn't committed to it. And the first thing he did, which got me and most Ghanaians who are committed to fighting corruption to lose hope, was his appointment. He engaged in corrupt practices in terms of nepotism.
How did he do that?
Nepotism.
Oh, nepotism.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
okay.
You understand. And so the very moment the leader who is creating an impression that he wants to fight corruption is seen engaging in corruption and corrupt practices, he gives tools and encouragement to the followers to also engage in same. No wonder under the past administration, we couldn't really see whether the real fight or perception, we couldn't even make any improvement in both. The perception index suggested so, and not just the perception index, but result itself suggested so, that we couldn't even fight corruption very well the way we needed to do it. So that is there. Now, when it comes to whether or not Ghanaians are really committed to it, look, Moro, every human being, and when Kufuor said some time back that corruption is as old as human, making reference to Adam, it is a fact. Every human being has got in him some selfish nature. That is a fact. And so I remember some time back an interview that the late President Rawlings had, where he said that it is not about him being president or any other person being president, but it's about putting in the structures in such a way that even if it is Satan who becomes president, Satan will not have his way. That is how it is, and that is the fact. Yep. So everyone, look, today we are all here talking. The fact of the matter is that we are all exposed to temptations when it comes to engaging in corruption one way or the other. But the point is, putting in structures so that it will minimize it. Even if I want to engage in corrupt practices, the structure will not allow me. Buffer stock, if we had the structures operating and operating effectively, if we had the structures in such a way that, look, before me being the managing director, will be able to transfer any money, it must pass through a certain department. For the department to look at it very well, for the department to approve or disapprove, before it gets to another person, before it even gets to the one who will release the funds. If those structures were there, the buffer stock MD wouldn't have had the opportunity to do what we are being told that he did. Are you getting it? So, as for human, you will never, and anyone who wants, especially if you're a leader, and you have failed in fighting corruption, that is when you end up accusing the citizens and the followers. That one is not a way to fight corruption. So if you see or you hear any leader saying that, well, citizens are also corrupt. Citizens are also corrupt. We want to fight corruption, but citizens are also corrupt. The fact of the matter is that every human being, why? The leaders, are they not part of citizens? The MD, you were giving his profile. a Muslim and all that. We also have Christians, and are they not citizens? We are here talking about the churches who are also hailing individuals who will come into the church, give money. We don't even find out the sources and all that. Are they not citizens? Indeed, every leader is a representation of the society he represents or he comes from. They are not angels coming from different places. Akufo-Addo, who engaged in nepotistic activities, he has been a citizen of this country right from day one when he was born. Are you getting it? But if we have the structures in place, he wouldn't have engaged in that. Even if he intended doing that, the structures would have said, you are not allowed. You just can't bypass. You can't go past any system. You understand? So that is what we should be looking at. And that is what we mean by having a proactive system. Proactive system here tells you, and it wasn't for fun that I used the Kigali example. And I said that, look, the other thing about Kigali is that almost every corner you turn, there's a dustbin. What if there's a dustbin, if the system is there, will you have any reason to litter around? Are you getting it? Mm-hmm. Look, I drive, but the truth of the matter is that sometimes when I end up eating something and I don't find a dustbin, I carry it into my car. And sometimes it will be in my car all the way till I get home. Uh-huh. The point is, I am driving and I'm carrying it and it's in my car. What about someone who is not driving? Do you think the person will be able to carry the rubbish all the way from morning till he or she gets home? Let's be fair.
Okay. Yeah. So you understand. So the point you're making is this: that yes, you agree that there are some Ghanaians who don't mind.
There are some Ghanaians who don't mind.
Is corrupt or not because they're benefiting.
Exactly.
But you're saying that these people will have to stop from even benefiting from corruption in the first place, regardless of what they think about corruption.
Right.
We have to prevent them from. So some of our police officers, some of our immigration officers, some of our pastors, some of our imams, some of our media, colleagues, some of I can go on and on with the list. You're saying that, yes, I can understand, because every human being has the propensity, the proclivity, and the tendency to want to be corrupt.
Exactly.
We are corruptible.
That's right.
But we have to reverse it and make sure that our levels of corruptibility is reduced to the barest minimum. But do you honestly think that Ghanaians will survive? Let me play the most advocate.
Okay. Let me just.
And I've decided to approach this topic this week because everybody would probably be talking about the man has this, has that. But we need to get to the bottom of it.
Fantastic. That is what we need to do.
Let me get
to the roots of it.
Exactly.
It's not just this man.
What has happened?
Exactly. No,
it's a symptom.
This man is just
a symptom of a bigger problem.
That is it.
Good. And that's what we're trying to address. But here's the thing.
Yes.
Isaac, I know you have something.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to give you a pen.
I'm
when
happy.
You came. Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. You know
I'm
why he
training
doesn't?
the memory.
You know why he doesn't need a pen?
No.
You check the phone he's using.
It's
2025.
Oh,
Ultra 25. He has everything.
It looks like Muru want to be on your
he
case
doesn't
today.
Need a pen. Anyway, so Isaac, so the point I'm trying to make is this: that is corruption totally bad?
Okay. Let me make a very important point. I hear my brother.
Yes.
I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I think we are more or less talking past each other.
Okay.
I remember having the opportunity to attend a lecture at Columbia University by Professor Ali Mazuri.
Okay.
It was an African week, and then he was giving a lecture.
It's of South Africa, isn't it?
No. I think he's a Kenyan.
Oh, Kenyan.
Yes, Professor Ali Mazuri.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he made a very important point that when corruption is detected in Japan and the person is found out, the public reaction leads the person to commit suicide.
Exactly.
He died of shame.
Sure.
That when he comes to China, they kill him for making the whole society shame. But when he comes to Africa, the society celebrates him.
Right.
That's the point that we are trying to make.
Right.
No one said, look, you can never fight corruption unless you have very strong institution. And one of the things we talk about, the function of law, is deterrence. The deterrent aspect of corruption in Africa is largely absent. Look, if you look at when President Rawlings left, and Kufuor came to power, everybody realized that there was a huge deterrent. Ibrahim Adam went to prison, the former agric minister. Kwame Pepere went to prison, the finance minister. Victor Solomon went to prison, deputy finance minister. Ministers were held accountable. But since then, when Professor Mills, John Mahama government came to power, there was no serious prosecutions. I agree with you on that. And when Akufo-Addo government came to power, we were not very successful in prosecuting a lot of people. So it kind of gives some communication that it pays to be corrupt. And not just corruption, even every day as a lawyer, we say crime pays. Why do we say crime pays? Because we don't have the capacity to detect every crime. So we usually use few people to set as an example. It's either to deter others. So in terms of successful prosecution, it's not just MPP. Government, the Professor Mills government, John Mahama previous government, were not successful in that. After that one, you can give it to President Kufuor. He did well during that particular period. So, but nevertheless, society's own reaction to corrupt practices also help in fighting corruption.
Yeah, but he's just told you
yes,
that that's what we ought to change.
Yeah, that is why I said we are talking past each other, but we are actually in agreement.
Okay.
It was just that I was taking it from one side.
But question is, can we change it?
We can change
because
it. He just mentioned it.
But the people are hungry.
Rwanda have
Change
done
what?
orientation.
Okay.
That about dirty environment. Right. And as the guy said, there was no law put in place. I'm not sure about that. I know there will be law put in place. But countries like Japan, orientation helps a lot. From childhood, civic education. If you take public money and do things, this is the worst part of human being. Yes, orientation can do that. But I think our generation, I feel hopeless because talking to people have even told me, Ishak, if you get an appointment, we may have to come to your office for us to fight. The way you are thinking is not really right. Do you understand that? We follow you with something that's in mind. You see, so the orientation everywhere.
Do you know why?
And I just said,
do you know why?
Yes.
Do you know why they may have a problem with you? Because someone funded your party.
Okay.
For your party to come to power.
Yes.
The person who has funded your party is not a Father Christmas.
Sure. Okay.
Do you understand? I mean, there's no free lunch in politics, especially in politics. Well, in social circles, there's also no free lunch, but that one, Emmanuel can explain better. In social circles, I mean, you meet a woman, there's no free lunch.
Not at all.
Not at all. Emmanuel Wilson can explain that better when you tell a woman there's no free
I agree
lunch.
with you.
Yes.
That's all you want to hear.
Ishak has that expertise too, but not today. So I'm saying that there's no free lunch.
So that's
I have given you money.
Yes.
You have, you have printed T-shirts.
Yeah.
You have bought cars. You have done all of these things.
Yes.
Of course, there are people who also do crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. As Barack did.
They expect
prior to 2008. So he went to communities, $1 here, $2 here, blah blah. He made money.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be It doesn't seem to be working in our part of the world because people won't even give you. They actually expect that So the big players or the big spenders who have funded your party to power have to recoup it.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's always an opportunity cost.
You mean any other party or my party?
No, I'm talking about political parties.
Yes,
okay?
yes. And that is why we need to look at political
Good, so that's another leg of it.
Yes,
so we'll get there. I'm saying that he has to take the money back.
Okay.
Ishak.
Yes.
Because businessmen were told they do a lot of opportunity cost analysis.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm giving you $100 million. What else have I lost?
Sure.
Okay.
By not spending the $100 million on that. Okay. That's opportunity cost analysis.
Okay.
So your party has come to power.
Okay.
You have been given an appointment on account of your party being power. Remember the kind of politics we do here. Extremely partisan.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we're trying to see if we can converge at a certain point where persons who may not necessarily belong, like for instance, we've seen what's happening in this government where the likes of Professor Jampo, Lord Benson and Co have been given a point. They're not strictly speaking NDC. And we've seen that too. I think during Nana
they were more than NDC.
There were, well, it depends on what you mean by more than NDC. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that why would you turn down a request by, say, the finance minister or your supervisory ministry.
Okay.
That this gentleman called Emmanuel Wilson Omoro Aldu supported our campaign with $10 million US.
Yeah.
Or $20 million US.
Okay.
Well, inshallah, I want to legitimately end that.
Amen.
And I call you, Ishak, and I say, you see this project or this contract?
Yes.
Give it to this guy or this lady.
Okay.
Because of the role they played in the campaign financially. Yes. You are going to tell your party that lie, I won't. Unless he is approved by the Public Procurement Authority or he meets a certain criteria.
Moral question is...
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Moral question is very tempting. I told
you know what I mean?
He's a devil advocate.
Yeah, but that's the reality.
Yes,
that's the reality.
But you see, sometimes
that's the reality, Ishak.
The law says competitive tender.
Yes.
So if the law...
He may not pass it.
I know.
He may not pass it.
That is why I said
the reason
the party boy.
But the reason your boss has called you is because that gentleman may not pass muster.
Yes.
And that's why you've been called.
Yes.
And perhaps the person who's in charge of procurement authority would have been spoken to.
Right.
But you've
do everything possible to make sure this man gets the contract.
When you assume office, you also swear the oath of allegiance to Ghana and to the laws of Ghana. And if you are put over there, and the president explicitly made it clear that you are here to promote his agenda. And
so what should happen to that? What should happen to that businessman?
Let me come. I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Okay.
I think fidelity to the law should prevail. If the law says competitive tender, and the president appoints you and remind you the need to have fidelity to the law.
That's in a normally or properly functioning governance system.
The president often remind people. I remember seeing President John Mahama not long ago reminding ministers they need to pay fidelity to the law.
Yes.
And if the law requires you to do competitive tender, you are saying that one must give that up to a behind-the-scene phone call. For me, I struggle to do with that. And I always believe that people should not go to government not because they are following their party, what the party requires them. Your individual conviction. And as you often said as a Muslim, most of these people don't believe that the sort of things that we are doing, we are not going to call upon them to account, even if you are not caught in this world. In the judgment day as a Muslim, I believe that you'll be called upon to account how you use your own rationality in the way you handle public money. I believe you will still be able to account.
You won't survive any regime, Ishak.
And if you have to defer
you won't survive
that you get.
You won't survive this political regime. That
in other words, you are saying that we should just endorse corruption. Because this is
no, having said
more or less.
No, but I think
let me read this message before we have to take a break. No, US, don't get me wrong. I'm not in
but Moro is actually presenting.
That's the reality.
The reality.
Yes, that's the reality.
That is why I'm happy about it.
Yes. Let me tell you something.
I have a lot to
say. I have friends who are in very, very sensitive anti-corruption institutions who are working for this country.
Yes.
And it is mind-boggling.
Yes.
Ishak.
Yes.
I mean, the extent to which some people would go to protect thieves.
Yes. I know.
I mean, the extent to which some people will go just to protect thieves.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You know why? Because they're direct beneficiaries of the loot.
Yes. Very true.
Charlie, who doesn't want to live in cantonment? Who doesn't want to live in East Legon? You know, but you see, in all of this, you know what I've noticed? I think we're just looking at corruption narrowly. Okay, we're looking at corruption where you're a public servant, you've been given some money, you've been given some contract, you take a kickback, or you inflate contracts so you can take some kickback. That's just one part of it. But I'm talking about the kinds of things that happens in a public institutions.
Yes.
Where you have to find something for somebody to fast track something for you. Otherwise, what's na watch it?
That's right.
Anyway, before I take the break, let me read this one from somebody I would consider a big brother, but also a regular viewer of the show, and for that matter, the other show that I host, Good Morning Ghana. He's one person who's also very big on fighting corruption, you know, and I'm talking about Mr. Kojo Chumboafo. He sends a message, and Kojo Chumboafo says that, Moro, good morning to you. He said, the last time I saw Ishak, He was talking. He said you were talking.
Okay. Yes.
And he says he's still talking. And then he says Ishak. Ishak bako Ishak bako kasa bebre. Aha. That's what he said. Yes. And then he considers and say Ishak ugusu kasa. That comes to the question. You speak Tree, right?
No.
Okay.
You need
and it
to
says you are
translate that.
talking whilst your party members are stealing and pocketing. How much money did Hanan contribute to the Bamia campaign? Bamia is your cousin. Go and ask him and get back to me. He wants to know.
He often puts this like, Bahuma is my cousin, Bahuma is my cousin.
and Jackson says that I'm enjoying your show about corruption. Those are deep thought questions. Wow, you can never answer it with a yes or no. Jackson, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, look, we need to get to the bottom of this. This thing is a major, it's a major problem. But we'll take a little break. Then we'll come back. I'll pick your thoughts on some of the questions I've asked. You're watching Inside Pages on Metro TV. Please stay with us.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enye. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby cot. In fact, bibia opama umanyina obenye biwa ase.
Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059-6377-172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Chia woni nara mi din eje baby dapa mi dia de sonko kra na ebremo nya odi to aduane mo ama waduane dapa na me de bremo eno any some spices dey ebu wa wo bebre o various flavors ubenya eya akoko ubenya nantwie yedi ku jollof ma emu yede ubenya yedi ku nkwan yedi ku froye mu ho na kope bito na ema waduane enye de unyiminia yenkonko tie nyankofo eka
autant de communication ni enjoy Oduba that Samu spices.
One in the essence don't fight. I'm going to get it. Samu spices in a Sabi, daddy so say. Samu spices.
Samu spices. Nyama chicken.
Samu spices.
In Sanaka in Ketwa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, can jollof, and the flavors alphabet bebre.
Samu spices. Yes, Saka.
FDRJ jadien krato yatum.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up boom. If you put it to so would the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey.
Is that his car?
Everywhere.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Oh, Jose, and I media semesio. Cannon pano, Nasana, Mishiana, what de me. A drain I did in Quano, Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No, more benefit him. Me benefit wine. Also, what told dear? Abrewa, the smile, our brand. Mishuve, one antique crana wabre. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters and any capsules. Nanya, what ya bribia.
Kingdom Garlic Bitters and the capsules. Assembly, a devil when I'm when I say, send your name, wife, company, one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules, and tea. Say, see, I'm password.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. A many genius from Debefi, Abribia. Obebia o de poor hauno. Edro Bakupa, we hear tremendous capsules. Tremendous capsules. SSC Uma, we are Bessima. Edno, you when you be a ton Rubia. Kingdom Heber, no challenger.
I just want to hear. Welcome to season 2 of Play by Ear. Make some noise! This is the only show all you need is your ear to win some cash. When I say Play by Ear, what do you say?
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Need your attention, please.
Mnet Movies 4 brings you Action HQ.
Before I describe the job, I have to know you can do it.
The movie festival where action never clocks out.
1, 2, 3.
Go! Business as usual means fist first, questions later. We don't do spreadsheets.
Some car keys, a couple guns.
We do high speeds.
Put your foot to that floor and you press.
Our management style, very hands-on. Water cooler chats, surprisingly inspirational.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
This October, Mnet Movies 4 is mission control for mayhem.
Complete destruction.
It's home base for heroics. It's Action HQ. Consider your couch the corner office of chaos. This is not a drill. Report to Action HQ all month long on Mnet Movies 4, where action never clocks out.
You're still live on Inside Pages on Metro Television. I'm here with Ishaq Ibrahim, who is a law lecturer, UPSC, and also a member of the MPP's Legal Directorate, and also here is an anti-corruption crusader. I'm talking about Emmanuel Wilson Jr. We're having a very, very interesting conversation about corruption and why we're struggling to fight corruption, because the two topics that we advertise, which has to do with the back and forth between the OSP and the AG, and that of the presser which was held by Ghana's Attorney General, essentially borders on acts of corruption for which some persons are going to stand trial. But we have decided to look at a very interesting angle to all of this, whereas perhaps the public is talking about this person has acquired this, acquired that, acquired, yes, that's public knowledge, that's it. But there's got to be some motivation for why people do what they do, and we need to get to the bottom of that if we really want to succeed at fighting corruption. That's what we've been trying to do in our own little way. Now, what I think must have been Ishaku was on the floor when I
yes,
or it was Emmanuel was saying.
Let me just. I was just going to add to it that look, in terms of building the structures, and I'm happy that we are taking this because that's actually the proactive approach I keep saying that we have adopted to ensure that it doesn't occur again or it is minimized. You know the number of times we have talked about separating, and it still has to do with structures, separating the Minister of Justice from Attorney General, decoupling it.
Yeah.
The first time I heard of this happening or being talked about was His Excellency Kufuor himself prior to he becoming president. It was part of his campaign. When he became president, 8 years, there was nothing done to it. Then comes His Excellency Atta Mills. I also heard him or his party talking about it. They come to office, nothing was done to it. And it has been so throughout to date. This is a practical way to ensuring that we have effective system that is operating. But unfortunately, because, as I indicated, the leaders, or most of the leaders, they benefit when the system is as it is. They've kept quiet on it. We are talking about political party funding, for instance. These are practical things. And I remember very well, even when I moved out of active partisan politics, consistently, we have talked about political party funding. There's a law actually that says that, or it criminalizes foreigners investing in our internal politics. But the truth of the matter is, do we have system that puts in place, that checks where we get our fundings from? When political leaders decide to go outside the country in the name of they are going to see their branch groups or branches, have dinner and all that and fundraising. When they come back, do we have system? Does Electoral Commission have system that says that, okay, this is the amount of money that we checked and we realize that you have spent? Come and account and tell us where you got the money from. We are just talking about it. And so if today I have invested so much in ensuring that Moro becomes the member of parliament or becomes the president, and then I tell Moro that, look, even before he becoming president, I tell him that, look, I'm going to invest in your campaign.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that when you become president, everything about the road sector, I should be the one in charge.
Yeah.
Those are the practical things happening.
Yes. Okay.
Are you getting
Yes.
it? And I can look, I think some time back, I had an encounter with the then MC, one MC. And I was like, look, I have a company and then a construction company. So when it is time for you to, award, or when you open tender, I will want to apply.
Yeah.
This man looks at me and said that, look, this particular quarter, we are actually going to advertise for about 7 different buildings or structures. But the truth of the matter is that my regional chairman has placed his hand on 2 of them. My regional minister has requested for this. My this has done this. So honestly, even though we are going to open tender, it is going somewhere.
Wow.
You won't fault them. You know why? Because the regional minister or the regional chairman also knows of someone who financed the party in that region. And that person may also be a contractor and says that, look, because of the investment that I have made, when you come to office and you are going to give government projects out, I am interested in probably 5 or 6 construction work to do. Where lies the structures that will prevent all these things? If we are able to put structures in place to ensure that political party funding is regulated, some of these things will be minimized. It was only during Rawlings's time that we had a quasi-political funding. And that was when Electoral Commission was giving vehicles to political parties. When His Excellency, I thought that it was a step in the right direction. We could have built on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are investing vehicles, and what was the vehicles being given? They give vehicles based on your capacity and how, the number of individuals that you present to contest in the parliamentary election. So if, for instance, NDC, MPP, they present the whole 275, then probably they are giving, let's say, 10 vehicles or 15 vehicles. CPP, PNC, they are giving this number, then they are also giving this number of vehicles. It was one way of funding. When they do that, they have direct interest and stake, and they can monitor what you are doing. What has happened to it? It collapsed. Right after Rawlings left, His Excellency Kufuor came, we couldn't continue. We couldn't even build on it. And today it has fallen flat. We are here talking about even anti-Galamsey task force that we've been having. Isn't it so worrying that over the past years, we keep seeing and hearing people saying that they went to this site and they have confiscated this amount of money, this vehicle and all this. What happens to those confiscations? Where does it go? Where does these monies go? Do we have systems that comes back to account and say that when they went, they were able to seize 1 million Ghana cedis from these illegal miners? This is the amount. This is the process it has passed through. And this is where it has got into. We don't have those structures. How then do we encourage, or how then do we expect that we'll be able to fight Galamsey very well? How then do we expect that we'll be able to minimize corruption because we now have political party funding?
Emmanuel,
let me give just one more example.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can give. Look, right. As for the examples, Nadia, I'm sure that you can give because it's true. There are several of them. But this is my question. In his narrative, ever since he started talking, he's been making a very important point about being proactive, which is that let's prevent it.
Sure.
Rather than fighting it when it happens.
Yeah.
So, as a country, we decided, because yes, the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government was an NPP party that was in government. But once he assumes office as a president, he's president for all of us.
Yeah.
There were civil society organizations that were for the idea of creating an office which will be seen by and large as very independent.
Yeah.
Because we have observed over a long period of time that the Minister for Justice, who oftentimes, or at least since the Fourth Republic, because he has been a member of a political party, will struggle to go after his own friends or his colleagues, especially those of them in cabinet.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the wisdom of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the time, he says, let's set up an office. People have read all kinds of ill motive and ulterior motives into why he did that, but that's a separate argument for another day. So he set up an office. And interestingly, he appoints somebody who has always carried himself as an anti-corruption crusader.
Yeah, Martin.
And that's Martin Bans Kaiser Alamisi, and a member of the opposition.
Yes.
So some people lauded it and thought, look, it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not necessarily because he was from the opposition, because this opposition person is not necessarily an opposition per se, because he has stopped seeing himself as a member of the NDC.
Exactly.
He will tell you he's a
Citizen
PNDC,
vigilante.
AFRC, but not necessarily NDC.
NDC,
And he's had his own issues with the NDC. So you won't call him opposition element per se, strictly in the sense of it. If you want to go beyond just the title name, in terms of functionally, he wasn't really a member of the NDC.
Okay.
But be that as it may, a lot of Ghanaians applauded him for that singular act of setting up that institution or that office. So the idea is to prick the conscience of persons who are occupying public office, that once you steal money and you are caught, my party may spare you, but this man, he won't spare you.
He'll spare you.
Because he's for Ghana. Right? And this office has been around for 8 years. Why hasn't the OSP been able to prevent corruption to a very large extent. Because look, what we're hearing, I'm told, with the Hanans and the Giftawaris and so on, we're told it's just the tip of the iceberg. As I said, there's more coming.
Sure.
But this is the regime that had the office of the special prosecutor. Has it lived up to expectations?
No, not at all. In fact, the initial position of Crusaders Against Corruption when the establishment came was that this would be a white elephant.
Okay. Oh, you said that?
Yes, we said. Go to archives, Google, you'll find it.
At the time, what was your reason?
Simple. You see, when you look at the act that governs the Special Prosecutor's Office.
88.
Yes. We call it Office of the Special Prosecutor.
The law.
The law, I mean.
That gives the Attorney General the right to give them the powers. That's
sure,
88.
Exactly.
Not the Special
Not the Special Prosecutor.
Office. So sorry about that.
Now, the Constitution of Ghana, there's only one entity that has the power to prosecute. And that's the Attorney General. Not the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor is not an independent prosecutor. It's just an office set in place, just like we are advocating for a department under the Auditor General, where we say that, okay, if we are auditing something, the department, the work of the department is to have the eye of corruption. Let's identify corrupt practices and all that. The Special Prosecutor, the office was set to identify corruption and corruption-related matters. In terms of prosecution, it is the Attorney General who has powers to prosecute. The Special Prosecutor prosecutes.
Yes.
The Special Prosecutor prosecutes under the instruction of the Attorney General. Are you getting what I'm saying?
I don't agree. I don't necessarily agree with you. Because if you look at the current impasse, the current impasse stems from the fact that the Special Prosecutor can also prosecute. Oh, okay. You learn.
No. We are educating. Go on.
But this is where he's coming from.
So this is where
he's coming from. Okay. The Attorney General can actually go to court and file another.
No, I can see why he's talking about.
Yes, he can't.
The Special Prosecutor. No. The point I want to make is true that the Special Prosecutor powers are not stemming from the Constitution.
Right.
It's like a power being donated by the Attorney General.
That's the point.
But that doesn't mean it cannot be independent. So in law, for example, let's take the British system, for example, where I'm familiar with it. So here, the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General is also a government minister. But the Director of Public Prosecution has more or less been given complete independence when it comes to that. And it evolved out of convention. To the extent that if the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General directs him as to whom to prosecute, and then the kind of prosecution should be done, it is almost a scandal. So we can have things, even though they do not originate from the Constitution, but they evolve, and a convention would then be established.
Where?
In Britain. A good example. So if you look at the Act, it was envisioned that he would have complete independence. And what they wanted him to go was politically exposed people to kill this particular
I get you.
Lack of independence that we were talking about.
Right.
So it is the occupier of the office that should have taken advantage of it. Look at United States can start even investigating the president. And the Attorney General who appointed and the president could no longer fire him. Because a convention had been established that when there's a live investigation going on, the president cannot fire you.
When the Special Prosecutor takes a case to court, just like Morrow asked earlier, can the Attorney General file null prosequi?
I am not sure about that, no.
Why no? Remember the act that we are talking about?
Yes.
It is subject
because he is doing
to the authority of the Constitution.
Yes.
Right? You agree on that?
I understand that. You see, what you are failing to accept is that rules, law has said to be involved, what they call conventions as well. So it's not just what the Black Letter Source says. A convention could evolve.
A convention could evolve. I agree.
So maybe it has not evolved
yet. A convention could evolve. I agree. Where we have law and convention, law takes precedent. Do you agree to that?
Yes.
That's the point I'm making.
But convention have political penalties
of which sometimes many government don't want to interfere with it. So for you,
not in Ghana.
So you were talking about
not in Ghana.
No, it takes time. The holder of the office can make that. So for you were talking about constitutional amendment.
That is the point I was getting to. That is the point I was getting to.
An act can also make you.
Because remember the British system you made reference to. They have an unwritten constitution.
Yes.
The environment is totally different from Ghana.
Okay.
Remember that. That's why I was asking.
No, but I gave you an example too in the United States.
That's great. But the point is this: you are talking about Ghana.
Okay.
Ghana, the act, convention, whatever, political will, whatever you have, they are all subject to the constitution.
Okay.
If the constitution says no, it is no.
Okay.
If it doesn't matter whether the OSP wants to do whatever he wants to do, if it goes contrary to the constitution, and the constitution is actually being, if you look at the constitution, the one that carries the constitution so much is the president.
Okay.
So if the president decides, okay, this thing that is going on, Attorney General, you have the powers to file nolli prosequa. Stop this case. OSP can do nothing.
Okay.
That is the fact.
And this current OSP, was there a nolli prosequa that has ever ended?
No, there hasn't been.
Okay, good.
But remember, both Martin Amidu and the OSP have had the opportunity to tell us how they are being frustrated.
Okay.
When they said they are being frustrated, they didn't give us details of the frustration. Can it also be that, for instance, this one day, Martin Amidu himself came out to tell us, in the process of lamenting that he's being frustrated, he gave a hint that his office is not just in to pursue past officers.
Okay.
Does it mean, can we infer that probably he was using his office to also prevent corruption from happening under the then current administration, but he was being prevented from doing that?
Okay.
Are you getting the point I'm making?
Yes.
These are the practical things happening. And so the OSP's office, as I indicated, when it was set up, we have said that it will go nowhere. Because the structures itself, you see, we pretend to be fighting corruption. So we pretend to be setting up OSP's office. And it ends up becoming a white elephant. If OSP is really an office that we expect it to work, what prevents it from we again setting it up as a department under Attorney General? And says that this department, your duty is to go after politically exposed persons. Work and then report to us, and then we take it from there. Why do we set up quasi institutions? Do you know the amount of taxpayers' money that goes into OSP's office, the building over there? I'm being told that the building doesn't even belong to the state, so we are renting it. Every month or every year, do you know the amount of money we use to do that? What result are we getting out of it? Why couldn't we? If at the end of the day we submit a budget to Parliament and we say that X amount goes to Attorney General's office, X amount or Y amount goes to Office of the Special Prosecutor. If the Office of the Special Prosecutor was under the Attorney General, that amount would have been added to the Attorney General's money, and we would have had enough money. If I need, for instance, if I need 10,000 Ghana cedis to fight corruption, and you give me 7,000 or 5,000, I may not be able to give you the result. That is what has been happening.
Let me just do this quickly, and still in the spirit of wanting to prevent corruption and being proactive, which is part of the ethos of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. One of the things that have come up, which has gone against your party, is that the reason why the Office of the Special Prosecutor today is struggling to function optimally is because your party, the NPP, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when in government, you had a devilish motive for setting it up.
Okay.
It wasn't really to fight corruption as in fight corruption for Ghana. It was meant to go after the NDC because you were using Martin Amidu. And Martin Amidu himself, in one of his epistles, talks about how he's now come to a certain realization that it was actually being used. And that you were using it to fight, in fact, in your estimation, Martin was going to go after NDC, past NDC officials. Okay, it was when he started going after NPP people, then you said, oh, look.
That's true.
Do you know why you're here? Do you get it? So I'm saying that it is part of the reasons why the OSP is struggling today to function.
Okay.
Because the setup, as he said, of the office itself still makes it to some extent subservient to the executive.
Okay.
And until and unless we're able to look at the law again that gives them complete independence and autonomy, they will struggle. Today, why is the fight between the Attorney General's office and the OSP?
Why?
Okay.
It's just fight
Overdose power. Who has power to do what? Even though I'm saying that fight is in itself is a bit needless because look, we are doing the same thing. The only credit.
Let me have the opportunity to respond.
Centralized authority.
Don't make serious allegations. Assertions.
Oh, sorry. Do you agree with those who said that the chickens have only come up to roost?
That's all.
They didn't create it with any proper intention. That's why they.
I disagree with those people.
Okay.
You see, Ghanaians can always read into certain things. I don't believe Martin Amide was chosen for that purpose. And I don't believe the office of the special prosecutor was created to pursue NDCs. No. The Attorney General could have equally do that. Just as this current Attorney General is using those constitutional powers conferred on him to pursue members of the former administration. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't think there was ulterior motive to it. It was a genuine desire by the NPP. If you look at our then manifesto, it made it clear there was a need to fight corruption. And it was principally because of that reason that it was set up. I also disagree at the beginning about choosing Martin Amido as the first special office of the special prosecutor. Because of his personality, with all apologies to him, he's a fatherly figure. If it was just on the basis of my northern culture, I wouldn't probably comment about him. But here is a case we're in a democracy, and the democracy enjoying us freedom of speech. And we are in a marketplace of ideas, of which I would afford the opportunity to say that Martin Amide was a complete failure. In fact, he set up himself to fail. And later, the utterances that he made, if indeed, I think he made comments like President Akufo-Addo was a mother serpent of whatever he said. Why wait till the last minute for very long? If you give me an office and within 6 months, you are not able to provide the resources I need to function properly, and if he believes he's that kind of person, 6 months is enough to make it very clear to him that if he do not provide me the necessary independence and resources to pursue what I intend to pursue, what I believe is my mandate is, you resign. You don't wait for a very long time whenever, and then finally you are having critical point after 2 or 3 years. And you then said, okay, I am done. For me, he waited for so long. If what he said is what he thinks. In terms of operational independence, there was nothing he said that actually compromised his operational independence. I believe he was given operational independence, and I believe this current OSP was equally given operational independence. But you see, new institutions takes time before you can actually say. I think we are actually assessing the assessment very too early, because corruption, I believe, is deeply embedded in our system, and corruption is hard to fight. If you start to fight corruption, they are not just going to give up or surrender. They're going to fight back. And the systems are already very weak. So if people are going to fight back, you can see the resources he was asking. He was asking for military escort and all that. And I believe he strongly believed that their life was under threat. And you can see even the current Attorney General says that there are some people now, they can't even mention their names and the position they hold. Because if you mention their names and the position they hold, you may have to provide extra protection for them. So for me, it's too early to actually assess the achievement.
Of what? The OSP?
The OSP, yes. I do believe that. Because of the nature of the problem they are dealing with and the society. So, even though I believe some, what they call it, some successful prosecution could have been done. But this current OSP, I think I have problem with even his personality. The way he's going about it, he's more or less adopting the American style, which might not work for us. For me, I wish he can talk after he choked success. But he often says certain things. Look at Cecilia, the past one. He gave commentaries, and yet missed deadlines.
All right.
I mean, what accounts for him missing deadlines?
All right. Unfortunately, we have
let me wrap up on this. Yeah, I know. Let me wrap up on this.
Just 30 seconds.
No problem. So first and foremost, anyone who says that the office of the special prosecutor, it is too early for us to assess the office, it's not being fair.
Okay.
The office of the special prosecutor has existed over 5 years.
Okay.
Over 5 years.
Yes.
If you have an organization which has existed over 5 years,
Yeah.
you are giving all the resources, and when I talk of resources, I'm talking about the taxpayers' money. To do and ensure that corruption, even if not corruption, perceived corruption is minimized.
Yeah.
And you've not been able to achieve this even for once throughout your over 5 years. If this is not a failure, I don't know what it is. But you see, because we don't have much time for us to go into its details, the point is this: if we really want to fight corruption in this country, the only thing, or the first thing we need to do, which is very key, is to look at our 92 Constitution, which I have said consistently.
Yeah.
Moro, you cannot centralize power and claim you are fighting corruption.
Okay.
The 92 Constitution centralizes power.
I agree with you.
Everything and anything is given to one person, the president.
The president.
Now
I
look,
agree with
if the 92 Constitution was decentralizing power,
Yes.
when the president started engaging in nepotistic activity, which was, and I'm talking about the past president, which was an act of corruption,
What
the
was it?
system
You
could have
haven't
done
mentioned
that.
it. You kept saying
nepotistic. We are talking about in terms of
So
appointment.
what specifically?
In terms of appointment, check his appointment.
Uh-huh.
You understand what nepotism is about?
He's referring to Ken Ofuriatta. Let's
Not just Ken Ofuriatta. It goes beyond Ken Ofuriatta. Anyway, but then the second, I agree.
Unfortunately, we have to go.
Then you go
Unfortunately, we have to go.
So the point is this. Fine. The point is this.
He has run out
Let
of
us
time.
ensure that we look at the 92 Constitution.
Right. The good thing is that the committee of experts are looking into it.
They are looking into it. That is the most important thing.
I hope they met your group.
Yes.
You have to make a submission.
Yes.
Otherwise,
All right, so let me end with this. So
No,
good
I
morning
have.
from good morning, my brothers. I am Ni Akwe Bokete Lawe, Lakeside in Siano, Legon Chief, a new Legon Chief. It says, until we Ghanaians change our minds and attitude, Ghana will not go forward. I want to be educated. What's the meaning of NAFCO? Because we're talking about National Food Buffer Stock Company, the B and the S. Where are they? Sorry. Thank you very much for that. And I'm not too sure where the S, because it's NAFCO, isn't it? Yeah. It's National Buffer Stock Company Limited. I'm sure the buffer stock, that's why some of the newspapers would add an S to it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching another edition of Inside Pages. I hope that you enjoyed it. Today we've looked at a trending matter from a totally different angle, and I can tell that Emmanuel Wilson has been extremely excited about that. My name is Al Duboro. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thanks for watching the show. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
The distance between you and your goal is your decision to never give up in the face of impossibilities.
The whole district had just one doctor. When people are sick, they have to travel long distances to come. You could see that healthcare was a challenge for people. Growing up, that's actually influenced some of the choices I made.
Our phenomenal lady, Dr. Ernestina Mensah, graced our screens with so much inspiration to be relentless in the pursuit of our goals.
A woman said no for a man pan but a mema and to me breast cancer. The earlier we detect say cancer, the better.
It's time for me to switch things up for her. What is
The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Charcoal, Kel 360 and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Kel, happy smile.
The distance between you and your goal is your decision to never give up in the face of impossibilities.
The whole district had just one doctor. When people are sick, they have to travel long distances to come. You could see that healthcare was a challenge for people. Growing up, that's actually influenced some of the choices I made.
Our phenomenal lady, Dr. Ernestina Mensah, graced our screens with so much inspiration to be relentless in the pursuit of our goals.
A woman said no for no a man panetania, but a mema and to breast cancer. The earlier we detect say a cancer, the better.
It's time for me to switch things up for her. What is it?
The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Charcoal, Kel 360 and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Kel, happy smile.
Metro TV. Metro TV. Insightful and inspiring moments.
Hello once again and welcome to the Living Well show on Metro Television. I am Sandra Ampofua Ofosu. So as we have presented to you in the past couple of weeks, we have been talking about breast cancer because the month of October has been put aside to observe and make a lot of advocacy about the disease breast cancer, because we are told it is claiming a lot of lives, and now it is not just women who are getting breast cancer, but men are also getting breast cancer. So today we have another beautiful guest in the studio with us, and we are going to talk further about breast cancer. So you'd want to stick and stay. When we come back from this quick turn, I'm going to introduce my guest to you, and then we talk breast cancer. Please stay.
The distance between you and your goal is your decision to never give up in the face of impossibilities.
The whole district had just one doctor. When people are sick, they have to travel long distances to come. You could see that healthcare was a challenge for people. Growing up, that's actually influenced some of the choices I made.
Our phenomenal lady, Dr. Ernestina Mensah, graced our screens with so much inspiration to be relentless in the pursuit of our goals.
A woman said no for no a man panetania, but a mema and to breast cancer. The earlier we detect say a cancer, the better.
It's time for me to switch things up for her. What is it?
The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Charcoal, Kel 360 and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Kel, happy smile.
Secretary.
Yes, boss.
Patron Fakot document in bread.
Patron Medeba. Boss, Patron. Oh, sorry, boss. Father, boss, na a drop a name, I'm saying.
It's Unti Tontina 74 Mishanka.
Wow.
Over air for general well-being.
Sir.
Very good. And money, money, I bet manum. Kope binato.
Any a crujio.
Kope binato. Ghana for say munim say medumani say make you try aji amanfo. Sa ena me hia a draw e betutwa aji me efi yare aho draw bebre. Na metumi aji na me na so aji amanfo. Asemi num 74 mixture. Emma mi apomodin e supported me immune system na emma mi asomdwe.
A drawing nyama painful. Abata woma womanufu. Ene nkwada woni mfie duwe. FDA aje dwede nkrato yato.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwa aba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enye. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare na wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby cot. In fact, bibia opama omanyina obenye biwa ase. Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059 6377 172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kale Charcoal Toothpaste. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste.